The last desperate step, Meghan Markle still tries to act and deceive the public to erase the shame of fake kids. As my husband always says, you're not going to get anywhere in life trying to screw people over. The wheels of the gauze grind very slow, but they do grind fine. I'm so happy to meet you again, and a royal commentator is claiming now that Meghan is still acting. She's still trying to fool the public. So he explains Meghan has made a flying visit to the Invictus Games in Germany, but do not be fooled. If the truth was known, she had no choice. She is trying to salvage any future she has, a future without the dim one. The world knows their marriage is over and they haven't been living together for several months. This is no secret. Netflix is filming this event as part of a multi-million-dollar deal. The streaming giant would have made it clear to them that anything less than a united front would lead to contracts being canceled, litigation, and a payback. But even more, the most damaging publicity possible for Meghan Markle. The actress would have been concerned that this would be made public, causing her big problems in any future deals she wants to make. Spotify executives called her out as being unreliable, and along with Harry, two grifters. The actress could not afford for Netflix to do the same. This led to the quick visit to the Invictus Games. Greg Peters, the joint CEO of Netflix, is rumored to have called an emergency meeting just days ago, demanding to know why Markle, who was originally named on the official guest list, had now been hastily deleted. Netflix was more than embarrassed when Spotify pulled the plug on the grifting duo. They didn't want their own reputation to take a hit by being seen as a company that signed up those who were ditched by others, but the damage was done. Netflix has known for a while, because they've been told many times, that the elephant in the room is the question of the two invisible children, who have never met any members of their own royal family. So of course, Netflix must have asked them why not. Now, to keep the Netflix party going in Germany, Meghan Markle was gushing in front of the cameras, telling everybody about their invisible children. Well, so much for Meghan playing mommy and staying home with the kids. I mean, now I wonder who's even taking care of those kids, because their parents are on a different continent. Or what, I guess Meghan thinks that a 2-year-old should be in school already, and Harry believes that both of his kids are under 3 years old. He can't even keep that straight. So again, we gotta ask the question, where are the children? Or could it be that this is the biggest scam that has ever been perpetuated? Now, it's not only Meghan, there are people helping her, the people who have colluded with Meghan and Harry, or who have stayed silent while knowing the truth. All these people are guilty. But still, I'm not going to include the royal family in this group. I suspect they were blindsided. I think they're victims in all of this too, and they were probably even duped like everybody else. And it could be the ones in the know were bought off with some hush money, or maybe they intimidated them into staying silent by threats of litigation. We haven't heard anything from ex-employees, but probably they did have to sign some NDAs if they wanted to continue to be employed. I tell you though, this whole situation stinks to high heaven. There is so much that does not add up. All the smoke and mirrors, all the stalling, coming up with excuses. Someday this story is going to blow wide open and the damage is going to be incredible. And if Meghan supposedly has to do school drop-off, then how come she's never been papped doing that? I mean, they could easily blur the children or find Meghan alone in the car when she's coming to school or going from school. Something, but now we have not seen anything. And the news sources who posted that photo of Meghan driving said that it was the first time she's been seen driving since 2020. So obviously, she is not the one doing school drop-offs. And apparently Montecito is basically a pap-free zone. Even TMZ said that they and other entertainment outlets like ET and Access Hollywood do not send photographers up there because there's a silent agreement to reject the projects of the wealthy who live there. And I never saw Ellen or Oprah papped there. They're always somewhere else when that happens. It has only begun since Meghan moved there, and it's just Bagrid who paps her anyway. She wants attention, so she's going to make sure that she's seen, especially when her husband or the real royals are getting any positive attention in the media. She's a narcissistic sociopath. The woman is crazy. She will do whatever it takes to keep her name in the gossip rags, because in Meghan's opinion, any publicity is a lot better than no publicity. And as I said yesterday, Harry looks pitiful when Meghan's around. Now, you guys also talked about this a lot with us in the comments section of the video. Poor Harry, he can't smile naturally when Meghan entered. And I want to talk about some of your opinions. I see most of you agree that Meghan Markle never should have been up there giving a speech. Aquarius says the Invictus Games deserve to have different ambassadors to what they have got. It's become the Harry and Meghan show. Those brave veterans deserve so much more. They have ruined what it was supposed to stand for. Just disgusting. You know we agree with you. But unfortunately, it doesn't sound like Meghan and Harry care. And then Missy says giving Skid Markle a microphone is like giving a chainsaw to a serial killer. Ooh, Missy, I want you to comment more. This is hilarious. And it's so true. Meghan Markle is the last person who should ever be offered a microphone. She does not know how to use it. Next up, Sarah Garnett says he won't stop sharing until he accepts responsibility, and he's not going to do that. He's a very selfish person who stomped on his mother's grave and disrespected his grandparents. He has no kids. When you have kids and you love them, something in you will be different. How many times can so-called parents of small kids go away and leave them behind? Some parents take their nanny with them. This is a very good point, Sarah. If they really had children, we would have seen those kids. They would be taking those kids with them. When you're a parent to small children, you never want to be away from them. You worry about them all the time. We don't see that from Meghan and Harry, so that makes me believe they don't have any. I like Chilibird's comment too. I don't think Harry has learned the reality of everyday life. Knowing what he married, he needs to walk away from her instead of worrying about looking great to us public. Harry has to move away. It's true. Harry needs to stop worrying about appearances. He needs to stop worrying about what people are going to say to him if he finally leaves Meghan. He needs to really think carefully about what his life is like now versus what it was like before she entered his life. And if he can honestly say it's better with her in it, then all right. But I don't think that's going to happen. Kate London also made a comment that I really agree with. Harry, just give it up. Call your dad and apologize. He'll probably have you on the first plane out of there, and then you can go to rehab in Botswana. Seriously. I mean, really, it is time to just give up this whole charade. I know that Harry will feel humiliated if he admits that he was wrong about this, but seriously, he's got to save himself before it's too late. Susan Roberts says the problem is that both Harry and Meghan Markle are narcissists. They both want to be the most important person present in a room. They both want their voice heard, even if it means trying to overshadow the other. Meghan Markle will shut down Harry all the time because she knows she can get away with it and that Harry won't put up much of a fight. Some people believe Harry is an empath. He's not. His words and actions regarding his grandparents show us he's not. He's been cruel to both people and animals, not signs of an empath. He also uses people for his own gain. Again, not empathic behavior. Narcissists, both of them. You're probably right, Susan. I mean, I do keep holding on to hope that maybe deep down inside, Harry is somewhat a good person just because I know he comes from such a good family. But you could very well be right that both of them are just sick. They're narcissists. They can't be fixed. My Mitty shares some pretty harsh words about Meghan that I completely agree with. So Mai says the nasty and sick frog merely acted like all narcissistic perverts act. They isolate their willing prey from friends and family and put them on some sort of spell. Isn't she half Caribbean? And have him obey like a doggy dog he has become, tail down between legs. I mean, it is. That's a situation that we have watched play out in front of our very eyes. It really is like she cast some sort of spell on him. I mean, maybe she didn't. Maybe this really is who he was all along. But still, she isolated him completely from everything he knew. And at this point, it's basically impossible for Harry to go back to the life he once had. Meghan Markle is a sick, twisted individual. All right, now back to the news. Recently, I heard that Archofficial was actually refused entry to all the schools in their area. Apparently, the details on that child's birth certificate are not real. They're not even correct. And so, he couldn't go to school anyway. No other student's mother has come out and said that they go to their school. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how Meghan gets out of this situation. What, is she going to claim that the invisible children are kidnapped and they're never seen again? Or are they going to try to create some really horrible story about them going down on a plane on their way to the UK? Or is she finally going to come out and admit the truth? I doubt that last one's going to happen. Or what, is there going to be some announcement from Meghan's PR people that people in the US are not allowed to take photos of the kids? Whatever. I mean, who wants to take photos of a bunch of dolls anyway? I mean, whether the truth is they use surrogates or they've been using dolls and rented kids, who cares? We know this story about them being their children living with them is 100% fake. I mean, using the kids as an excuse to be late, Meghan, come on, like anybody was ever going to believe that. Even if Meghan did have kids, you know she wouldn't be doing the school drop-offs. And she claims she had to get milkshakes for them to give them around school drop-off time. The whole story makes no sense. And, you know, let's figure out how long it took for Meghan to fly from the US to Germany. When would she have had to leave? She's there for publicity. And she's there for Netflix. She's there to stroke her own ego. She doesn't care about the games. Why would the athletes need Meghan sharing her word salad nonsensical speeches? If she wants to talk about those kids and use them as her excuse, then she needs to prove that they're real. And sugars, I know there are some of you out there listening to this, so why don't you just do it for her? If you are so convinced those kids are real and that they live with them, then why don't you prove it? Why don't you share photos? And I'm not talking about those weird pixelated photoshopped pictures, I'm talking about some real ones. Oh, what's that? You're having trouble finding those? Well, yeah, I'm sure you are because they don't exist. I mean, Meghan and Harry cannot even be consistent about the kids. They forget how old they are. The timeline makes no sense. And perhaps this is the reason why they don't have any real friends. I mean, acting like caring parents, whatever, like anybody's going to believe that. Meghan Markle doesn't even know how to care about her own family, especially her father. She doesn't care about anyone except herself. I guess to be fair, she also cares about how many zeros are in her bank account and how many likes she gets on social media. But caring about another person, absolutely not. Meghan Markle has told so many lies to try to convince us that their invisible kids are real. I mean, so disrespectful to tell such lies in front of the families of actually injured veterans. Shame, shame, shame on the two of them. And I guess it could explain the late appearance of Meghan to the party, a forced appearance and ultimatum by Netflix. That's the explanation. Meghan looked like she was attending a funeral instead of a party. She does not have a clue. And you, what do you think about these views in my video? Please continue to discuss this couple's kids with us below in the comments. And don't be afraid to like and share my video if you think it's interesting. Besides that, and don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.